You're listening to the Passionate Proof podcast, where we bring you empowering episodes on manifestation, mindset, and so much more to discover, find, or fuel your passion. I'm your host, Ellie Hendricks, and my mission is to enable you to be the proof to your passion and make it your paycheck. Amazing. All right, welcome to the Passionate Proof podcast, Scott. You are my very first guy on the podcast, and I'm so pumped for this episode. So welcome.
Thank you. Really grateful. Really, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. First man on the podcast, hey?
Yeah. So as this is still quite new to me, and I how we met was Scott and I were at a weekend just gone, the 3-day business boot camp, and I just loved the energy that Scott brought to the room. And I got chatting to him on the first day and during a break that we had, and I told him about the podcast and I invited him to be a guest, and he was like, yes. And I was like, oh yes, amazing. So the guests I've had so far have been all girls, and I guess that's sort of more the audience that I do have. But I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for you to come on and share your story, because I know how much of an amazing impact it would have for my listeners. So before we do dive into your story, Scott, I just want to ask a question that I ask all of my guests, which is, what is your passion in life or business?
I have an entire world full of passions, and I'm passionate about elevating humanity's consciousness and shifting our mode of existence to the way in which humans show up in the world. And this is for the benefits of humans to create, healthier, happier, more aligned human beings. But it's also to shift our awareness and to shift our consciousness and how we show up in the world for the benefit of the entire Earth community, because we have this one beautiful planet that we're a part of. And it's so, it's an absolute privilege that we are here for this period of time, at least in this lifetime. And yeah, that's what I'm passionate about, is shifting the energy on this planet and supporting human beings to show up differently for the benefit of the collective Earth community. And with my background and history, this is something that it's been a common thread. I've just expressed that in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
I'm passionate about love. About love, sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the most powerful guiding forces in this universe.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely is. It's such a beautiful gift to have as well, to be able to love yourself firstly, and then also the others that you surround yourself with. Yeah. So
powerful force.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scott, tell us a little about the amazing human that you are and your entrepreneurship journey so far that has led you to where you are today.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for the opportunity. So yes, my name is Scott Wallace, and I'm a breathwork coach, breathwork facilitator and transformational coach. And I've got close to a decade's worth of experience across many different fields. And this includes science, law, education, activism, and I'm happy to expand on all this stuff shortly. And so typically I've attracted clients that are spiritually curious, put it this way. People who are, aware that there's something deeper to their existence, but maybe haven't come to the understanding or haven't been able to connect with that energy in a consistent way on their day-to-day lives. So yeah, really enjoy working with spiritually curious people and supporting human beings on this planet to create more alignment in their lives, between their hearts, between their minds, between their emotions and their spirit, and to align their actions with what their truth is, And this is something really, really important. This living a life aligned with our truth is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and here to support people in showing up in the world aligned with their truth and with their passions. And I'm really at a stage now where, yes, it's important that we live aligned with our truth, and we need to be supercharging the rate and the scale of healing, of reconnection, of expansion. And so this is another part of what I do, is to really not only get the basics in order, but continue to catalyze transformational change around the world and for people. And this is part of my vision, is to contribute to my coaching and to support clients and the people I connect with, and in our communities, to create more alignment in their lives, deepen the connection with themselves, with their spirit, and to supercharge our expansion as humanity. So this is what I do. This is where I focus my time and energy, and this is something that has brought me immense fulfillment, and it's aligned with my soul's purpose. And I've been one to actually follow my soul's purpose, which has brought me to different fields, different areas in life, different opportunities. And I'm sure it's the same for you, Ellie. There's different things that come into your awareness, different ideas that you explore this, you connect with this person, you study this for a few years, then you move on to stepping into this space, and it's all part of this beautiful journey of life. It's all part of this opportunity that we have to lean into what feels right, and to follow these little threads, these little puzzle pieces from the universe that guide us in the direction that we're meant to be going. And it's brought you to this position as well, and it's brought me to this position as well, and the past 10 years, I came from a completely different space. So I was born in Perth over in WA, and I moved to the Gold Coast when I was 15. And I remember the first night I came to Queensland, I'd left so much of my family and friends in Perth, and I moved over with my mother and my stepdad, and I was fucking so upset. I was like, no, I shouldn't be here. Like, just so sad and frustrated and angry that my mum had, pulled me away. And, within a few days, I was like, actually, this place is cool. and I like it over here. So a very quick reframe and quick shift in my energy. So I went on to actually study environmental science. So I've got a Bachelor of Science Bachelor of Science with honors, majoring in marine biology, ecotourism. And so I spent 4 years at Griffith University really exploring conservation, sustainability, environmentalism. And this is a huge passion of mine, and it still is. It's just I'm integrating all these important parts of who I am into what I do now. So 4 years at Griffith University. I went on to study a law degree as well. So I've also got a Bachelor of Laws under my belt. And I realized that, maybe for a lot of your listeners, when it comes to environmentalism and conservationists, maybe they've got this idea, tree hugging hippies, just, here to, cause anarchy and peace, love, and unity, bro. And whilst I dig peace, love, and unity, and I literally hug trees and all this sort of stuff, a lot of the perceptions of environmentalists can be slightly negative at times. But it's really important that we look after our shared home, So I delve deep into science and conservation, sustainability, and realize that we have a society currently where there's a lot of crazy shit happening in the world. There's a lot of crazy things happening in the world, and especially when it comes to the ecological harm that's happening, it can be really frustrating and difficult for people to comprehend. So I don't know if you've ever found yourself saying comments like this, or if your listeners ever find yourselves saying comments like this, but, the system's broken, the system, needs to change, and the system's flawed. And it's almost as if the system is this thing that you can't see, that you can't really quite identify what the system is, but it's the politicians and it's the government and it's the corporations and it's them versus us, right? And I realized that I wanted to actually, instead of resisting the system, I wanted to work within the system. I wanted to catalyze change within the system. So this was a big motivator for me to study law and delve deep into understanding the legal system and empowering myself. Instead of staying in a state of fear of the unknown, I wanted to lean into an opportunity to learn, understand, grow, and to equip myself with the tools, the knowledge, the skills, the awareness, the networks that I needed to catalyze change in the world and to improve myself. So I started studying law with those intentions, and to also use the legal system to better protect animals and nature and the environment, and to empower and support humanity. This is what drove me to study law. And after wrapping up that law degree, and I ended up stepping into advocacy, and I was doing a lot of activism and advocacy around veganism and animal rights for many, many years, and eventually ran into political campaigns in 2020 here on the Gold Coast. So I ran in the state government elections in October 2020, and also the local government elections here in February, March. So yeah, a deep background. This was with the Animal Justice Party at the time, because it was the only party that aligned with my vision of the world. And yeah, I've also worked in education for about 9 years with Griffith University of Queensland. So I've got a diverse background across science, law, advocacy, education, and it's only in the last few years that I've actually really stepped into the space of setting up my own business and following what feels right in terms of my soul's journey that's led me in a different direction, which has brought me to breathwork, which has brought me to now deeply invested in supporting people through coaching and mentoring. So after all those years, here I am. This is the new identity, which we spoke about a lot over the weekend. Our identities evolve. How we show up in the world constantly evolves. So my focus and what I'm putting the most energy into creating at the moment is expanding my business, is leveraging the systems in place to amplify impact, to get, help people reconnect with themselves, amplify healing, and raise our awareness.
Amazing. What an amazing introduction. Like, Scott, you have so much value and so much knowledge you've invested your time and your energy into, and learning the things that really come passionate to you. And I just want to acknowledge you for that as well, because all of those knowledge, the skills, and the learnings that you have from whether it be the courses or the things that you've done, have brought you to where you are today. And it's just amazing. Exactly. Hearing your story too, about moving from the other side of Australia to Queensland and starting pretty much a new chapter of your life, and how you've actually utilized it to the benefit of yourself, and then also giving back to others as well.
Big move coming to Queensland. It was, life-changing in some regards, but probably a less significant. Actually, I was just going to say, here's the perception. It's like, oh, it's less significant. I just moved to Queensland, but fuck, here we are on the coast in this melting pot and this hub of expansive ideas and entrepreneurs and there's so much happening here on the Gold Coast. So actually it was pretty profound. Everything contributes to where we are at. Yes. Totally.
Exactly. Yeah. And everything happens for a reason as well, too. Because, I mean, if that didn't happen and the steps that you took, we never would have connected. We never would have even crossed paths in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that we have crossed paths, it just shows that everything happens for a reason, and timing is really in alignment with where you are and where you're going as well. So yeah, it's just, I'm so grateful to have met you, and just hearing your story is really, really, really inspiring.
Timing is everything. Time, this is divine alignment. We're living in the age now where more and more people are tuning in to those what people will refer to as coincidences and perfect timing.
Yeah.
I truly don't believe that I don't think coincidences exist. This is intentional divine timing with everything that we're doing. And we're delving now into the energetical and spiritual realms with this, but I'm sure your listeners have had many experiences over their lives where it's like, wow, how's that synchronicity? I was here at this time, or I just, I thought about a friend and then they start calling me. All these little things that we experience just help people into that magic of life and that magic of what is more than us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And how did you come to discover breathwork? Was it through a particular person or a course that you invested into where you really started to utilize that and is now your practice that you do every day? And also through your,
Mm.
you actually have an event this weekend up in Loganholme. That's a 2-hour
correct
event. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really keen to drop in on the weekend. That's one of my group sessions that I host, and breathwork has absolutely transformed my life. Like, it's one of the most simplest, accessible, free, powerful medicines that we can harness on a daily basis to support our growth, to support our expansion. And for me, has helped me create more alignment in my life. It's helped me deepen my connection with myself and with my soul. And, Ellie, do you want to have a guess as to how many breaths we take a day? Just a wild number.
Just a wild guess. Okay. I think I have heard of it before, and I'm probably so wrong, but maybe I'm going to say 80,000, 90,000.
It's not that many. I think that's how many thoughts we have in a day. I think I remember hearing at one of the Two Minds events, the guys were saying we have 100,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah,
or something
maybe
crazy.
That's where I've got it from.
We breathe over 20 on average, around 20,000 times a day. Okay.
Oh wow, I was well off.
So that's a lot of breaths. And how many of those breaths how many of those breaths do we remember? How many of those breaths are we aware of? And one thing I'd just like to do in this moment is actually just invite yourself and your listeners to close your eyes for a moment. Relax the shoulders. And if you're safe to close your eyes, if you're driving or doing some wild shit, then don't listen to me right now. Don't close your eyes. If it's safe to, just close your eyes, relax the shoulders. And I invite you to notice where it is that you're breathing from in this present moment. Just bringing loving awareness without judgment to where you're breathing from. Is your breath deep and full and slow into the belly? Or maybe your breath is feeling really tight in the top of the chest. Maybe it's really shallow and quick. Just observing where you're breathing from. I invite you just to take a nice, slow, deep inhale in through the nose. And letting it go with a sigh. 2 more of them, in through the nose. And letting it go with a sound. giving yourself permission to express. One more, fully in, big, deep breath in through the nose, loading up your lungs. And letting it all go. Oh, shaking it out. Oh. You're ready, just slowly opening the eyes. So for a lot of people, we're not in tune with our breath. We're not in tune with our bodies. And the breath serves a couple of really powerful purposes. The breath is something that sustains us. We need oxygen, we need breath to survive. When we understand our breath and when we observe our breath, it helps us get insight into the current state of our nervous system, our emotions, our energy levels, and we can also harness our breath to create change in our lives. So breath awareness and using breath to make change and to heal and expand and grow is something that I wasn't really tuned into for a very, very long time. And I spent a lot of time growing up free diving in and around the ocean. So breathing for me is something that I did on land and in water. I'm also, I love breathing underwater. I'm a scuba diver instructor as well. I love breathing underwater.
Yeah.
And it was only a few years ago that I remember, I'm not sure where it is on my timeline, but I remember sitting in the lounge room, and I'm not sure, and it was actually before. Okay, so it was, a few years ago. I remember being in my lounge room, and I was scrolling through Instagram, scrolling. I was sitting on the couch here in the corner, and this person came onto my feed, and his name's Lucas Mack. And Lucas Mack is an epic human being creating massive change and is so inspiring and has been a source of so much inspiration for me over the years. And Lucas Mack, check him out on Instagram. He's a crazy alien, tattooed from head to toe, filled with love. And he just had this video where he's like, guys, shit's crazy at the moment in the world. Let's just breathe. Let's just take 10 breaths. And I was following along with him. And after a couple of breaths in, I noticed this massive flood of emotion just shoot to the surface for me. It just shot to the surface. And I started tearing up, and I started feeling all this energy coming through. And this was taking a couple of breaths. So after the 10 breaths, I was a fucking mess. I was like, damn, okay, where did all this come from? I just stopped to breathe, to connect in with my heart, with my body, with my breath. And I started feeling emotional. And it was like, wow, how much was I holding on to? And what's beneath these layers? That was a really powerful moment for me to really experience it was a really memorable experience for me. And I'm not sure if it was before that or after that, but I started hearing more about breath work. And, when something comes into your vortex, if any of your viewers who aren't aware of what the vortex is, and I'll give you my explanation of it. Our vortex is it's our field. It's what's in our awareness. It's the conversations we have. It's what we're bringing into our lives. It's where we're exposing ourselves, where we're putting our time and energy. It's what's in our powerful channel of exploration and learning and growth. And I started hearing about breath work, and I was at an event. There was a woman there who was a breathwork facilitator and does breathwork journeys. And I was like, oh, wow. And I really connected with her. And I decided that this was the person that I was going to do a breathwork journey with. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do this. I want to experience breathwork. So I dropped in for a session with her a few weeks later or a month later and had my first breathwork journey, a bigger breathwork journey. And this was life-changing. This was absolutely transformational. I was blown away at the impact that this breathwork journey had on me in terms of the emotional releases that I had, the clarity that came through and the inner guidance that came through for me, the energy shifting through my body, the shakes, the tingles, the vibrations, just the whole experience was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. And having that first journey just really opened my mind and my soul up to this whole world of the power of breath and the medicine and the power of breath. And it was out of this world. It was really out of this world. And since experiencing that and doing multiple other journeys, I lent into, doing facilitator training that was for breath work, just general facilitator training. And then I'm actually starting a 9-month program next month with Lucas Mack and his partner, Hella Weston, and the amazing Awaken team of facilitators and trainers to learn more about their specific modality. And it's such a diverse program. So I've really lent into breathwork, Ellie, over the last few years, and I've done everything I can to immerse myself into breathwork. And like, I'm sure there's been areas in your experience where, whether it's you've done your NLP practitioner course, was it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, once you step into a particular space, it's so easy to just want to learn everything and immerse yourself and be around the people that are in that space, because it's just so saying, hey, like, just be in this area. So you find yourself exploring all these opportunities that just, add more juice to your life in these areas. And yes, I've really just lent into that fully and started to got to a point where I'm like, I'm ready to hold space for people and to organize my first event, and that was huge to be like, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to organize an event. I'm going to find the perfect venue, and it was all aligned because I came back from North Stradbroke Island. I used to work up there, and I came past this crystal shop. And I've seen this crystal shop for months and months and months and years, and I'd never stopped by. And for me, 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, fuck this crystal bullshit. What's this woo-woo colorful rocks? Like, that's all they are, And now, like, my house is loaded with them. And I spend a lot of money on crystals. So I drove past this place and I thought, let me just pull in. And as I walked in there, Ellie, the energy in this space was beautiful. The owners were there, and it was just unlike anything I'd experienced. And I told them, like, this place is so beautiful. I'm a breathwork practitioner. I'm just stepping into this, and this space looks really, really nice. And that was the first venue. They said, yeah, let's come back up and, hold space here. We'd love to bring in more breath in this space. We were thinking about this. So, for any of your listeners, it's so important that you follow your intuition, that you trust your intuition, that you allow all the little thoughts and feelings that come through for you. It's there for a reason. Follow it, explore it, because it brought me there. And that was Muse. That was the venue that I've got this breathwork journey at on this weekend. So it's coming up to a year, actually, of hosting public events, which I'm really, really excited for that. I'm going to do a big something to celebrate that year of events. And yeah, and after the group sessions, I've really just stepped into the space of now one-on-one coaching and supporting people with bigger programs and breathwork journeys at home. I have a beautiful practice here in Palm Beach on the Gold Coast. So that's a bit about the journey of breath and how I've got to be sharing this medicine now. It's been a few years of it.
Yeah, amazing. And thank you so much for sharing too. It's such a beautiful practice for anyone to incorporate into their life. As simple as really just tuning in and having 3 real inhale and exhale breaths. It's just so powerful. Like when I was doing it, I felt, wow, like an instant, so much more calm and like so much more easier to actually be able to do anything and be able to tackle whatever life throws at you.